Welcome everybody. We are here rocking out on Cloud Experts Unleashed. I'm your host, Ryan Brown, Chief Marketing Officer here at xByte Solutions. And with me today is our resident ColdFusion expert and just guru extraordinaire, Dakota Clum. He's our CTO, and he's here to kind of talk through some issues. I'm going to set the stage for everybody. So, and welcome, Dakota.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
But go ahead and set the stage here. So you're in ColdFusion. You got your environment going. Your site's running, and you've either been dealing with a crash that is kind of consistent, it's been happening every day, every couple of days, or even a random crash. And you know what? You got to dig down. You got to figure out what's going on, because you can't have your site going down. So we're going to start off with a two-part series. Part one, we're going to cover today, and we're talking about what data can you actually collect.
Awesome. Yeah, so there's a few options. Obviously, whenever ColdFusion crashes, you're welcome to restart it every time. Today, what we really want to try to identify is what steps can I take before I restart it that will help me identify the root cause later. As a lot of you viewers may be aware, there are log files. But sometimes those log files don't tell the full story, especially after a post-restart analysis or even a pre-restart analysis. They may not contain all the details you need to diagnose the root cause of the issue. So today, I want to bring to your attention, whenever you're about to restart a ColdFusion server or service that is constantly crashing or intermittently crashing, there's some more diagnostic information you can collect directly from the Java process that you can use later to identify the root cause of your outages. So if you go into your ColdFusion install, every installation of ColdFusion is bundled with a JRE or Java runtime environment.
Now, Dakota, I'm going to jump in here and ask a question.
Sure.
We were talking ahead of time. We were talking about people's first natural instinct is to restart the server, right?
Definitely. Yes.
Should they do that?
So restarting the server is typically the fastest path to resolution. However, if you want to permanently resolve the error and prevent yourself from having to do that over and over and over, it's important to take this little extra time to capture some diagnostics that can be used to determine the root cause of your issues. So I definitely recommend it. So yeah, we're in the ColdFusion 2023 Java runtime folder. Within this folder is a bin directory, and it's a packaged Java runtime environment. Java has a built-in native tool, it's jcmd, that can be used. It's actually used to capture diagnostic information from a JVM. You can pass parameters and commands to this tool directly to your ColdFusion running process that allows you to capture information about what's going on before that process is restarted. So if I open a PowerShell window here, I want to talk about two elements you can capture from your running ColdFusion process. So if I go in my task manager, I see ColdFusion.exe is running. It's running on a PID 3812. And with jcmd, I'm going to pass in a thread dump parameter. And what I'll do is I'll do 3812, which is the PID. And I'm going to tell it to perform a thread print. And I want to output that thread print to a thread dump, whatever file name you want to review later. And in just a couple seconds, Java has gone out there and collected a thread dump of your ColdFusion service. So you may wonder what's in that thread dump. This includes every running thread within Java, which includes your ColdFusion requests. So as you'll learn in our next series, there's information within this thread dump where you can see the same script is getting invoked multiple times. Maybe it's being stuck on a specific line number. Maybe it's a specific tag that's failing. Maybe it's a CF query. There's a lot of information you can collect from just that alone. Maybe it's a out of memory error that you're seeing within your ColdFusion server logs. You know ColdFusion's running out of memory, but we want to figure out why. We can't just keep increasing it forever. There's another command, diagnostic command you can run, which is a heap dump. So again, I will pass my PID. I'm going to tell the diagnostic utility to capture a heap dump, and then I'll pass that into a file name of my choice ending in .hprof. And that will also create a heap dump for you, which also includes all of your thread dump information. So if you run a heap dump, it'll also have all of the thread information. The consideration with heap dumps is that it can take longer to execute than a typical thread dump. So the heap dump could be the total size of your JVM. So if you have an 8 gigabyte JVM and you're using all 8 gigabytes of memory, that heap dump is going to be 8 gigabytes in size, whereas this thread dump will be, just a few kilobytes. So that is how you capture your thread dump information. As you can see, I have my threaddump.txt file. And if I was to open that and start analyzing what's running, I'd be able to identify all of my ColdFusion requests. And we'll dive deeper into that in our next series. So just these few commands and this little diagnostic information you collect before restarting ColdFusion will help you tremendously in your post-restart analysis to determine the root cause.
Dakota, if you can minimize that for a second. Sure. I know you and I were talking ahead of time, and it's funny when I showed the little graphic on the address for the thread dump, that you had a different file extension, and then we were talking about when we did the heap dump, you wanted to keep it at that HProf file extension. So you talk a little bit about why it doesn't matter for a thread dump what the file extension is, and why it may matter for a heap dump?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a thread dump, it's just a text output. You could put it into really any extension that you can use a program to read the data. So it could be a .text, it could be a .tdump. It's really there's no guidelines there. For the heap dump, that's a little different because it contains a ton of text, but there's a lot of data within it. So typically you would analyze a heap dump with a specialized program, which we'll go into later on, that analyzes the information contained within that specific extension. So, but yeah, thread dumps, you can put that in any kind of file. It's going to just return as plain text. And heap dump is going to be very malformed if you try to open it in a text editor. So.
All right, good to know, everybody. Well, guys, thank you very much for hanging out with us today and learning about what data you can collect. Thank you, Dakota, for this great information. And stay tuned for part 2, because part 2, we're going to go into, as Dakota alluded to, what can you actually do with this data and how to analyze it. So very exciting stuff. It's going to help you with your ColdFusion applications. So thank you very much. This is Ryan Brown with Dakota Clum on Cloud Experts Unleashed. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.